Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back to another episode of the Daily Dose. So for those of you who play sports, this may make a little bit more sense, but within the last couple of years, this idea of analytics has came up. And basically analytics is this idea that you can measure a person's ability based on certain numbers. So, you may, back in the day, you used to watch tape of players. So you'd watch tape of college, football players or college basketball players, and then you would draft them based off of the footage that you see. But now there's this whole idea of analytics, and you can see how good somebody is, or you can rate a player based off of numbers that that a computer is spitting out. But what's lost within those numbers is the intangibles that you don't see that you can catch on film. Is is the person hustling? Is the person putting all of their heart into it? And so the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he mentioned in a hadith, right, that it's a longer hadith, but toward the end of it, it says that there lies within the body a piece of flesh, and if it is sound, the whole body is sound, and if it is corrupt, the whole body is corrupt. Verily, this piece is the heart. And so if our heart is sound, then the other faculties of our body will be sound. And so if we apply this to Ramadan, we know that the most famous ayah in the Quran, in Surah Al-Baqarah, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that verily fasting was prescribed for you as it was prescribed for those before you, so that you may attain taqwa, so that you may attain God consciousness. And so a lot of times in Ramadan, we've set goals for ourselves that we want to pray this many times at the masjid, we want to make it to Tarawih every night, we want to donate this amount of money to charity, we want to read this amount of Quran. But sometimes those things don't affect our heart. And so in the ayah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us that fasting is so that you can attain taqwa, so that you can be more God conscious, so that your iman can grow during this month. And so just the way that analytics are just numbers, right? But analytics don't always tell us how hard somebody is working, or the amount of heart they have into it. And so we have a few days left in the month of Ramadan before Eid time comes, and we're celebrating, and the Ramadan is back in the back of our minds. But if Ramadan is in the back of our minds but is still within our heart, it'll have a longer effect on us after the month of Ramadan. And so during these last few days, if we haven't really connected with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if we haven't shed a tear out of fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, out of hope in His mercy, out of love for Him, then we have a few more days that we can have this change. And some of the things that we can do is really, if we look back at our, in this last year, if we look back in our lives, is truly ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for forgiveness. A lot of times, we're just making dhikr, or we're just, making dua, and it's just things that are rolling off of our tongue. But if we really have this intention of purifying our heart and purifying, our nafs, our soul, if we have this idea that we want to purify these things for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, inshallah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will put more barakah, more blessings in our deeds. If we can do these things, inshallah, the month of Ramadan, may leave us, but the lasting effects of Ramadan will be with us through the rest of the year, inshallah.